Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today I have an interview that I found on YouTube. There are several interviews conducted with the retired U.S. Colonel uh, Douglas MacGregor, and he has to say a lot of things. Again, things that you do not hear them said by our other army officers or retired generals and all the mass media and politicians, at least in the free world. I will upload the interview. It's short, it's about 7 minutes or so. I will upload it in the description box below. So please check it out. And from there, you can go to other interviews, longer interviews with Colonel Doug MacGregor. The points he makes are that he's talking about the crimes committed in Bucha, Ukraine, by uh, Kiev suburb, and he's raising some. He talks about it from a historical point of view, and he talks about the incident and the whole hate campaign that, in his view, came too fast and too overwhelming um, after the incident or the civilians were found dead. So he asks some questions. He makes some parallels between the involvement of the mass media and the politicians as in the intelligence community, as if it was an orchestrated campaign. For instance, and he uses the examples of Iraq in 2002, 2003, and then he uses the examples from Yugoslavia, from the war in Yugoslavia, the illegal attack of Yugoslavia by NATO, and he is saying that the only, I mean, he makes normal logical points that in a war, both sides are misinforming one another and bluntly lie about events. And then he says about the only, the I don't know how to put it, the only people that were to trust, for instance, in Yugoslavia, were the Finns, according to him, which conducted a balanced investigations and reporting. Now, in this case, we don't have the Finns reporting, as far as I know, regarding the Ukraine. And the Finns were reporting in Yugoslavia about the Bosnian, Kosovo atrocities. Some of them uh, investigated, some of them not found, some of them not put in the place where they belonged. They put it in a different place, like the accused was not that one, was a different kind. There are UN investigation and reports available for Yugoslavia bombing by NATO. And he says that we should wait in Bucha, as I say as well, until investigations are conducted and the truth will be found. Then he talks about that it's very, very strange that immediately after the Bucha civilians were found, he he's asking the question, how is it possible that it was such a fast mass media outrage all over in the Western media. And then he said all the retired generals came back in front of the cameras and they all said the same thing. So he states that in this kind of circumstances, he likes to go back a little bit, stand laid back, and wait a little bit when he sees all this. I would use the word orchestrated, but it's not orchestrated. It's not the right word, but they're too fast and too at one command, just like this. Now we can claim that horrible acts, obviously, and news about horrible acts spreads very fast, and then everybody reacts in the same way, because who would condone killing of civilians but some criminals? So since we're not criminals, we would all react with horror seeing those things. But what Colonel MacGregor is questioning is the quickness, and there was no alternate and quickness and no alternate view, or the idea of wait a second, let's find out. He said this amount of hatred directed towards one country in particular, without the corroborating evidence, really, I mean, you can assume and so on. This is one thing. And he said, I've seen this scenario in Yugoslavia when the press, politicians, so-called intelligence community, former military generals and so on, came, all of them at once, spoke in unison about the same issue, that sometimes it proved not to be the way it was, but the damage was already done. He said, I saw that in Yugoslavia, I saw that in Iraq, I saw that in Libya. So the scenario, he calls that in the scenario or something like this, I've seen this before. So for me, he said that it raises questions, and I am very cautious to immediately place blame on somebody or some group or some country, just because this group tells me this, and then you have everybody else just jumping on it. Now he makes another point about Zelensky and about who controls Zelensky and who controls actually what happens in Ukraine. And he claims, Colonel MacGregor claims that President Zelensky is maneuvered and is controlled by Americans in a very high proportion, and that unfortunately he says that the war could be stopped only when Vladimir Putin wants to stop it. If it's one-on-one, Ukraine and against Russia would definitely win in a war, unless other parts get involved to kind of balance it. He stated that the American and MI6, the British intelligence services, if you want to call them that way, and CIA, are heavily involved in information or / counter-information, very involved in providing support the Ukrainians and to the President Zelensky, who Colonel MacGregor claims that he's not really in control. He has limited control over the whole situation, and he's basically just a tool that comes in front of the cameras and says what he has to say. That's this colonel's assessment of the whole situation. Obviously, it's not the pinnacle of truth. He doesn't claim to have that, but the questions he raises, and the way his take on the whole issue shows, in my assessment, maturity, patience, logic, certain values that we used to uphold as virtues at one point, and some of us still do. Definitely, Colonel Douglas MacGregor still has these virtues, or at least he makes use of them. So please check that video out, and from there you can go to other videos with MacGregor, Colonel MacGregor. The interview, I think, was conducted yesterday and today, so they're fresh. So thank you for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you in a moment. Bye.